Hey guys, this is MusicTechHelpGuy and welcome to part 12 of my pop rock mixing series in Logic Pro 10. In this video we're going to add EQ and compression to all of the vocals to bring them out in the mix. We'll also do another leveling of the mix to make sure everything is balanced correctly before we move on to bus processing and using some time-based effects. Also, remember, if you'd like to practice your mixing and work along with me, there's a link in the video description below where you can purchase this same multi-track session. It's only 18 bucks and it really helps support the channel, so thanks to everyone who's purchased and downloaded it so far. So let's start with our lead vocals in the verse. Let's just pull up the channel EQ. Remember, you can just double click on the channel EQ thumbnail here and it'll pull up the channel EQ automatically. There's some pretty standard things I almost always do with vocals. The first is a sibilance boost in the high end. This basically just lets the consonant sounds and the diction of the singer's words come through the music better. Second, I typically will boost the low end just a little bit, and this is going to be done right around sort of like the singer's fundamental frequencies. And then third, another thing I do is I will high pass the signal to pull out some of the low end, and it just gets sort of some of the sort of the rumbliness in the recording. With this particular singer, she's kind of like a brighter singer. At least she's singing more in the high range in this song, so there's not a whole lot of low end to cut out, but some singers, especially male singers, will get a lot of low end rumble, and adding this filter in here will help to get rid of that rumble. So what I'll do now is I'll just turn the analyzer on. I've got just the vocals in the verses soloed, and I'm going to use my ear just to sort of dial this into taste, but also use the analyzer, to my benefit in just finding a tone that I like. And this is the tone that you choose, and the EQ signature you choose is going to be different based on the mic that you record with and the preamp you record with. So let me just dial this in.
You took the best of me when you told me you're in love. You know it's magical when my tears are raining blood. You told me everything that I wanted to hear. You stole the magic from my heart.
All right, another thing I like to do with vocals is put in a small little just boost, a little bump around the 2K range, which basically helps the vocals that are center just sort of have a little bit more focus in the mix, especially if you're listening on speakers that are more spread out. I started doing this because I've done some mixing work in surround sound where there's actually a center speaker, and the center in surround seems very, very detailed, clear, and focused because of that center speaker. When you go back to stereo, I almost always notice a lack of center focus in the vocals. So to compensate for that, I like to add this little 2K bump just to compensate for that and make the center vocals sort of pop out a little bit more and be a little bit more focused in the center of the mix. So this is just, it's a personal preference.
You took the best of me when you told me you're in love. You know it's magical when my tears are raining blood.
So here's the before.
You took the best of me when you told me you're in love.
And the after.
You took the best of me when you told me you're in love.
Full disclosure here, when we tracked this, we did add a touch of EQ and compression on input while tracking. So if you find in your own mixes you have to add a bit more EQ and a bit more compression, that's totally fine. Just don't overdo it. What we did is this is a tube condenser mic going into Neve 1073 preamp, and then from the Neve we're going into like an ADM EQ. It's just like a basic solid state EQ, and then from there it went into a Manley Veramu, which is a tube compressor. So the vocals are not completely level, but they have a touch of EQ and compression and processing on them already. So that's why I'm not making any like drastic changes in the EQ, and as you'll see later in the compression. So let's move on to the compression. What we're going to use, obviously we're going to use Logic's stock compressor, but specifically we're going to use the opto circuit. Opto basically means optical. It models optical circuit compression. Optical compression, in my opinion, and I think in many other studio engineers' opinions, is hands down the best circuit type for vocals. For a Logic tutorial, we're using obviously Logic stock plugin, but offhand I'll normally use like Waves LA2A or Waves LA3A plugins, which model the real LA2A and 3A hardware units. When I work at Fine Cut Studios, I use the real LA2A hardware unit that they have on site for tracking and mixing vocals. Sometimes I'll even use the optical compression circuit in the Shadow Hills mastering compressor that they have up there. So in my opinion, optical compression is the best for vocals because it's soft and warm, but still clear and detailed. And you can, in a lot of cases, you can really slam it, especially with the hardware units, like a real LA2A, you can really slam it with heavy compression and you just don't hear any graininess or nastiness in the high end. It just doesn't distort very easily. We have to be a little more careful because we're working with a plugin. We're using a stock Logic plugin, but we can still make this sound good. So I'm going to pull the threshold down a bit more, pull the ratio up to about 5:1, turn off the auto gain. I'm going to use a soft knee. So I'm going to put this all the way up at 1 for vocals. I'm going to pull the attack time up a bit because what this does is it lets the front end of the words come through a little bit more. So the dictation, the diction of her words doesn't get completely blurred. So the consonants come through better. And I'm going to leave the release on auto. So and just right where it's at, right around 50 milliseconds and then auto. So let's see what this sounds like.
You took the best of me when you told me you're in love. You know it's magical when my tears are raining blood. You told me everything that I wanted to hear. You stole the magic from my heart.
So let's listen to that again with no EQ and compression.
You took the best of me when you told me you're in love.
It's about the same level, just a little flat sounding and not very full sounding. And then with both of these on.
You took the best of me when you told me you're in love. You know it's magical when my...
So it's a little bit fuller there now. It doesn't seem so flat. Let's listen to it in context with the song.
You took the best of me when you told me you're in love. You know it's magical when my tears are raining blood.
Cool. So what I'm going to do off screen real quick is I'm going to copy the EQ and compressor setting over to all of the lead vocals and doubled vocals for the bridge, the chorus, and we're going to tweak a few things. Actually, I'll show you one tweak before I move on. I'm going to hold Option and duplicate the channel EQ over to the bridge vocals. Now, for all of the vocals here on out, they have been panned hard left and hard right. Because we don't have center vocals anymore from this point onward outside of the verses, we don't need this 2K boost in here anymore. So I'm just going to leave it out. And then I'm going to copy the compressor settings over just as is. I'm going to do the same. So basically the same thing. I'm just going to copy all of these EQs over, just holding Option, and then all the compressors, and I'll be right back. All right, so that's all copied over. Another way you can transfer a channel strip setting to all of your channels is you can click on the setting tab up here, and you can hit copy channel strip setting, and then you can move over to the next channel or select a whole range of channels. Click on the setting tab and you can say paste or hit Option Command V. The problem with that is it also copies over your pan settings and your levels, so I don't want to do that. So that's why I ended up doing it this way. All right, so let's move on to the backing vocals. I'm going to go ahead and Option click on the EQ and pull it over to our verse harmony and pull the compressor over as well. Because the backing vocals we have are artificially created, and we did that in the last two videos with flex pitch, we have the possibility of some phasing issues between the lead vocals and the harmonies. Putting the harmonies in a different stereo position certainly helps. But I find that most of the noticeable areas of phase are in the high end. So what I typically do is with the EQ is I'll take the same EQ setting we had before. I got to pull out that 2K bump, obviously, because it's not in the center. But I'll find that if I pull in a low pass filter and pull out some of the high end, what this does is it helps to make the high frequencies not collide so much. In fact, what I'm going to do is I am going to still boost the high end, but I'm going to boost the high end in a different range. We'll boost it maybe more down here in the 5 to 10K range. And instead of boosting 2K like I did with the leads, I'm actually going to cut 2K a little bit. I'm also going to pull up my high pass filter a bit, and I'm going to get rid of my low end boost completely. So we're essentially band passing this. So let's hear what the leads and the harmonies sound like together now.
You took the best of me when you told me you're in love. You know it's magical when my tears are raining blood.
There you go. So we're just sort of decreasing the phase interactions between the leads and the harmonies. Now all the bridge and chorus harmonies are all center. I'm still going to keep that 2K cut on those though, because I don't want the harmonies to appear louder in the mix than the leads. So let's go ahead and just pull all this over. I'll do that off screen. I'll be right back. All right, so we've got EQ and compression on all of our vocals now. Let's give the verse, the bridge, and a chorus all a listen through.
Just so magical, this tragedy keeps running through my heart. We're just like animals, nonsensical, you keep running through my heart. We're just so magical, this tragedy keeps running through my heart. We're just like animals, nonsensical, you keep stealing up my heart.
All right, cool, that sounds good. You're probably noticing that some of the S sounds, the sibilance in her voice is a bit overbearing. This singer is just very sibilant, so we'll be adding a de-esser plugin in the future to tame that down a bit, but we're actually going to add it to all of the vocals at once when we group them in a vocal bus. So in the next few videos, we'll start working with time-based processing like choruses, reverbs, and delays, and we'll talk about adding them using sends, auxiliary tracks, and buses. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for the support, and thanks for watching. Hey guys, if you'd like to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel to see multiple new videos added every week. Also, you can check out carnymediagroup.com where you can view all of my video tutorials, search for specific topics, download the videos ad-free, and in some cases you can purchase session content so you can work along with me in the video. Also, please consider giving a monthly contribution at patreon.com/MusicTechHelpGuy. As always, thanks for your support and thanks for watching.